please dry your eyes. Welcome to the final edition of A Sip of Knowledge with Lew Bryson, Liz Rhoades, and making his triumphant return, Marty Duffy, back at last with a hat on. So, as always, I'm Will hooking up from Savvy.co, and just wanted to point out a few ways you can interact with your hosts for one final show. You probably know the drill. A lot of you have been here before. I see a lot of familiar faces. Hello to Brad Krause and Donald Snyder, Steve Kane, Lee Wood, Christina, Colleen McLeod. Nice to see a lot of familiar faces out there. But do please enter in the chat box where you're tuning in from on the right side of your screen. It's always great to see that. If you have a question at any point during the show, there's a little button at the bottom that says ask a question. So just hit that button, type it in. I'll be keeping an eye out for those throughout the show. And as always, feel free to invite your friends to join us. There's a share button at the top that makes it easy to do that. But with that out of the way, Lew, Liz, Marty, I will turn things over to you now.
Thanks there, Will. You're the best. You know, that was a beautiful. I want to invite all those people to one big party.
Will, why did you do me like that?
Oh, little lizard.
All the feels. All the feels.
I feel that from the bottom of my bottom. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Martin Duffy. Oh, by the way, Will, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but I've been gone for 10 months. I was asked back. I thought, I got asked back. Only to find out it was the last show. But that's all right. I did find out, something that my great grandfather once told me. He always used to say, when people feed you a bunch of crap, he says, "Look, don't poop in my hat and tell me you're Willy Wonka." And I totally agree with that. So you're going to see this show is just going to be bare knuckles truth, nothing but truth.
Okay.
All right. So anyways, I'm Martin Duffy. I'm a former, former master of whiskey for DIAGEO, many, many years. And then I, 18 glorious months as national brand ambassador for Benedictine. So please.
Yeah.
8 years as co-producer of Chicago Independent Spirit Expo. And for the last 8 years now, 8.5, I have been the sole brand representative for Glencairn Crystal in all of North America, possibly Central and South America, as far as I know. So there you go. Little lizard, are you able to talk, babe?
Yeah, I think so. Marty, thank you. And I think, I see all the comments pouring in. We'll get to those in a hot second. So, of course, in natural fashion, I am streaming. What are we doing? Streaming live, of course, from the Whistle Pig Farm and Distillery. For the very first time, actually, I've got a live audience over here. And maybe there's a... Here, yeah. We're
live but wounded audience.
Hey everyone, I'm Liz Rhoades, technical distiller and spirit consultant. Have over a decade of experience across the alcoholic beverage sector, spanning many different sites, product and spirit types, including beer, rum, vodka. But hold up, particular favorite and expertise, of course, is in whiskey.
Whiskey!
I spent most of my career at a tiny little mom and pop shop known as DIAGEO, but now am currently head of whiskey development at
The Pig,
and happen to run a little side gig as a consultant at Spirit Safe Consulting. And that's what I got. We'll talk into what we're imbibing here in a second, but I'll toss it over to you, Lew. And I'll stop.
Thank you, Liz. Oh, yeah, the vapors. Well, good afternoon to everyone. Marty, great to see you back. Liz, good to see you as always. And Will, wherever you're hiding, thank you for that roundup.
It was really good.
Wow. I am Lew Bryson. I am a humble whiskey writer for 20 years the managing editor of Whisky Advocate Magazine, but I got over that and went to publish Tasting Whiskey and Whiskey Master Class. Two wonderful books that I just encourage everyone to buy for their friends and family for Christmas, and the audio book of Whiskey Master Class, narrated by your own Lew Bryson. Oh, and of course, the acknowledgments for, well, I don't know if we read the acknowledgments or not.
What the fudge?
I know we didn't read the index, so, you know.
It's the best part.
I am not going to tell you what I'm drinking today because that's a big reveal, and I'm going to leave that up to the mistress of disaster down here. Liz, tell everyone what we're drinking today.
Calamity Liz, we call her.
So for our last show, I actually made a special blend. No, Will, can we zoom in? Yeah. There we go. So I made a special little ASOC blend.
Tilt it forward just a little bit because of the glare. No, yeah, just tilt the bottle forward.
Forward.
There you go.
What are we doing here?
Oh, it looks like hieroglyphics. I'm sorry. That was a bad idea on my part.
Yeah, so I just, of course, so coffin box, right? Because
I thought it was another one of your death threats again, Liz.
It's sort of course, because I always believe whiskey should be fun. Kitted it up in a coffin box because it's the end of the road.
I gotta tell you, this is almost making it worth it. This is there's like some beautiful baking spices there.
Yeah,
Mint.
so I can't dig into the actual blend. It's more in a secrecy. And you know what? That's between me and my ASOC crew.
Wow. I'll tell you exactly what's in it, Liz. Give me a second. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Obviously, it's rye.
Definitely rye. I'm going to give you that right there. And some barrel.
Some barrel action.
Time.
Ryan Wood.
Some wood.
Some water. Yeah. Copper influence of some kind.
Little yeast effect.
Yeast.
A little yeast action. So, yes. So you probably couldn't see the label. Blend of straight rye whiskey is 13-year plus and 53% ABV, and it's to share with friends. So I've shared it amongst
that's the best kind of whiskey.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, guys, just thanks for 100, right?
Yeah,
it's 100 episodes.
This is 100 right here, right?
Yeah. So cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Oh, look at the beautiful glass. Wow. Oh, look at that.
Hello.
That's weird.
There are long ships, there are tall ships, there are ships that sail the seas, but the best ships are friendships, and may they always be.
All right. Right on point for you.
Adorable.
Oh, wow, that's good. All right, see you guys.
Wow.
Good show.
That's delicious.
All right, cool. Well, we're just gonna Nick Offerman this, and we're just gonna deadpan.
I got my fireplace.
Fireplace going.
Actually, I don't have a fireplace. I just started a fire in my waste paper. So I thought we should. I mean, we were talking earlier before the show that we'd like to review a few different things. One, the state of the industry, especially over this past year, but over the past 3 years. I know I've been out and about. I've gone to a lot of shows this year, so it's been kind of cool seeing not only the old ones coming back, but loads of new ones. Seeing a lot more brands. I've done a number of distillery trails, both here in the U.S. and then over in Ireland and Scotland, which were really eye-opening, seeing what's going on. And then we'd like to talk about about some of those folks we just saw in that wonderful. You know, some of the people that we got to talk to that, you know, I mean, to me, that's been the best part of this show, is being able to go and talk to some of these folks for a whole hour, you know, and especially the guys overseas, but even some of the ones here in the U.S. I think I saw Brad Krause on here. I mean, Brad down in Panama.
Definitely not in the U.S.
Brad.
Yeah.
Great, Brad. I mean, that was great. I mean, Panama. We're talking to a guy who made whiskey in Panama.
Yeah. How many people have done that?
Yeah. Plus, and that was the other nice little extra to the show. We got a lot of nice samples too.
We did.
Yeah, we did get quite a few samples across our.
And thank you for that. All that whiskey. It was awesome.
Yes, thank all of you for sending us poor little kids whiskey. Yes, Liz.
I mean, you bring up an excellent point. But yeah, I was just gonna say we've I think spanned pretty much the world of whiskey on the show.
Yeah,
that's right. We had Raj on with Indian whiskey.
Yeah.
Ian with he did
RBT.
Scotch?
No, you know, I'm thinking
Ian Chang. Yeah.
Yep.
Kavalan, and although we couldn't talk about Kavalan,
right?
You just wrote Kavalan, so you couldn't talk about it, which was or during your talk, you couldn't talk about it.
Yeah, we
talked about Japanese whiskey.
Had a couple of Irish. Peter Mulryan was on.
Scotland.
And Dr. Don.
Dr. Canadian.
Right.
Yeah, Dr. Don.
Yep. And
of course, we did have Brad on for the Panamanian whiskey industry.
Yeah. I mean, we had Starward on.
Huh?
Oh, right.
Australia.
Starward.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, we did cover. I mean, I'm sure there's loads other little pockets around the world that would have been great, but it was really.
Oh yeah, right. We had Swedish and Finnish too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. We did.
How about that?
Finnish or Danish? Danish. What Spirit of Ven was? Spirit of Ven Swedish or Danish?
We had Swedish and Finnish.
Well, he's on.
Yeah.
The event is between Denmark and Sweden.
Yeah, I can't remember which it is.
I think it's. Where's Copenhagen? That's in Denmark.
Yeah.
So I think it's Danish.
Okay.
Because you have to go to
I can't remember.
Take a train down and a boat. I hope to do that next year. I want to go
That'd
visit.
Be sweet.
We should,
Henrik.
go. But I think,
and then of course we had Schmear for everything else.
Schmear, which he is the world's whiskey.
He is in a bottle. Yeah.
Okay, so I just had this weird imagery of like genie in a bottle and like
that comes out of Schmear. And instead of like sexy Barbara Eden, it's just
my God.
Yeah. What do you
wait.
What am I doing?
A genie in a bottle?
Ooh.
A genie?
Ooh.
Can I just give Schmear an idea?
A Geneva in the bottle.
Geneva in a bottle.
All right, that's it. We're doing this. Quit our day jobs. Let's go.
All right.
We're marketing now.
So, kids, I know. Well, one of the things I've noticed quite a bit is through my travels these past 10 months is how the landscape of who's starting distilleries is very different. It was for the longest time you go visit a distillery and it would be either a couple of brothers or husband and wife or someone else in a industrial park, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I've seen so many distilleries where we're talking millions have gone into them. Now this is not just here in the US, but over in Ireland and Scotland, especially in Ireland. Most of the distilleries I went to when I was over there was, oh my God, it was
big
so
money behind them,
big time. I mean, you were talking, they had the best stills, Foresight or Vendome. I mean, just huge copper stills. They weren't messing around. But it was also very interesting because one distillery, Falkirk Distillery in Scotland, he had the whole setup, beautiful, big, giant distillery. Funny, it looked old because it was black and white. He was very, very traditionally. but it was, it was the owner is 78 years old, and the distillery was just kind of coming into production. I'm going,
Huh.
you're 78.
Yeah, you're not going to see that. Sorry.
Takes a couple of years for it to call Scotch.
Wow.
And he goes, oh, I know. I was just passionate about it. I wanted to do it. And
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I hope he's around for 20 years. He was a great guy. But you see a lot of that. Families. Now it's more than just husband and wives. It's families. Log still down in New Haven, Kentucky.
Well, one of the things I'm seeing is it's almost like we've got the I don't know what I don't want to say. Well, no, I will say it's like we've got the normal stuff taken care of here in the middle, and now people are doing these wild outlier projects. Like Waterford is the one that comes to mind. Yeah. Mark Rainier taking that whole terroir idea and just running with it like a madman, and spending up, like you said, I spend a ton of money on making that happen. People doing whole farm projects to bring on new strains of grain. The whole Rosenrye thing has exploded. And, different strains of corn. People like planting acre after acre of stuff. People are just trying new things. I know there are people out there doing some kind of wild fermentation projects. It's just,
Well, what do you guys think, especially you, Lizard, as far as would you if you started your own distillery or even that Whistle Pig? I mean, you guys, Whistle Pig's already kind of established, but do you start with something?
Right? Like we love our ag here. Taste of place.
But I mean, if you already have something, Whistle Pig is known for rye, so now and you have the financial backing that you can play around with different things. I guess my question is, do you start off trying to do something unique and different? It's kind of a gamble because now you have to have the marketing dollars behind it to really push that unique thing and get it accepted. Or do you start off with something that's tried and true, and then you start playing around with and introducing new stuff,
which I think New Riff was doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are we talking? Is this like inner geek or is this business model? Like what? I mean, right? So.
Well, no business. I mean, think about it. You're a small distillery. You've got to generate money, and I think it's great. You want to stand out from what everyone else is doing, but at the same time, that could also kill you, because if what you're doing isn't,
different enough,
or it's too different, people go, "Oh my God, there's that distillery in Iceland. I don't know how well they're doing, but I plan on visiting there too soon."
Are you talking about the sheep dung?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So you're doing sheep dung. Is that that's sheep different? But is it going to be?
Have you guys had the sheep dung smoked meat they make up there? Because I have.
Yeah.
And?
I get more of it every time I go through the airport.
Ooh.
It is awesome. Yeah.
Poop.
Yeah.
Like I said.
Yup.
Fecal matters. That's what I always say. Fecal matters.
Oh, Marty.
Yep.
Well, actually, so I don't know, a couple of things there. Obviously, whiskey is a long game. That's hard, right? I've learned to be a very patient person throughout my whiskey journey. And we were kind of chatting before the show, as we do. Largely not on topic, but in this case.
Hey, at least we were talking about television shows, which,
right,
we spent a lot of time doing.
Talking about television shows. But yeah, so I started out my career as a brewer. So becoming, shifting from brewing to distilling, or brewing to whiskey, again, as I affectionately like to refer to as the beer afterlife. There's sort of a mindset shift, and I want to dig into this. So we're gonna circle back on kind of where we are now in the craft distilling world versus the craft brewing world. But yeah, so I think you need to have sort of a core product and a very exploratory space. I think for me, that's where my mindset is. You need to have both.
I mean, when you think about all the classic,
go ahead.
Well, I've been just saying, if you think of all the classic spirits, all the classic whiskeys out there, they started off with their flagship, as they would call
it.
Right?
Flagship.
And then they do variants on it. A single malt from Scotland, they would do finishes. That was their big thing for a long time, was you did a different wood finish. Obviously, that gets a little mundane especially once everyone starts doing finishes. But however, you still had that core whiskey to build upon. And if people like that, they figure, I'll probably see what this finish does to that, to the core product.
Yeah.
But I just think starting out of the gate doing something a little nutty is risky, not bad.
Yeah,
it's risky.
It's risky.
Yeah,
and especially if you're a small little mom and pop, you don't have a lot of money as far as product or as far as PR. And
I will say, I know you were already bringing up the comparison with craft brewing, craft distilling. It's a lot less risky in craft brewing at this point. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, that quick turnover. You're looking at maximum 4 months if you're really aging a lager hard. Maybe a year or two for barrel age stuff. But nowhere near where we are with whiskey. On the other hand, I also think that some of that lower risk is because it's a more mature market for crazy shit. Right. I don't think the crazy shit whiskey market is anywhere near as developed as it's going to get.
And that's an excellent point. Because we're here. You've heard me say this maybe every episode. Micro terroir.
Singing that song, Liz.
I'm gonna keep on singing that. But I think that's one area, right? Because back to your question, Marty, about what sort of crazy things would you do? And I think fermentation, as different yeast strains, bacteria, etc. That's very esoteric, I think, for the probably average consumer. I'm not, and that's not to talk down to anyone. That's just, I think, the state of the union. But yeah, I would love to see more of that happening. And I'm not sure Lou, is your head exploding? What are you doing?
I just, you're not going to believe this. What are we at our 100th episode?
Yeah.
Just now, I figured out how to go full screen. I've been looking at all of you like about that big, and just now I figured out, like, wow! Sorry.
I guess better late than never.
Wow! Holy crap! Wow, you guys look bigger. Sorry.
So okay, got it. So it was a tech thing that got you excited.
Yeah, I apologize.
Not my rant about microbes. Okay, got it. Just checking it.
Nothing personal.
Here, so I thought too. What I'd like to mention too is all the whiskey shows that are coming out now. I mean, they are.
Yes.
What's fascinating is there's a number of whiskey shows that are local, which I really enjoy. I really enjoy going to. I'm going to Whiskey in the Winter down in St. Louis. And yeah, they have some of the big guys there, as does Still American, Madison. But the cool thing about those shows is that you go to them and they also have very affordable tables for the exhibit. You know, which would be very prohibitive to some small guys.
Yep.
But they're the list of seeing the local guys there, especially at Whiskey in the Winter. There's going to be a lot of Missouri distilleries, which you just don't unless you go down there.
Yeah.
And so I find that fascinating. I really encourage a lot of folks to go out because to experience all this stuff, to experience all these whiskeys side by side is one of the best ways to learn, I think. I could be totally, but I mean, I've had my mind blown at some of these ones, but when you go to, in fact, I thought Liz, New York, I thought Whiskey Fest New York surprisingly had a lot of small distilleries from the Northeast I had never seen before.
Yeah.
And I was a little surprised because their prices can be very prohibitive.
It's New York.
Yeah,
it's New York City Whiskey Fest. Yeah.
I will say, Pennsylvania, the law provides for anybody who has an alcohol beverage producer's license in Pennsylvania can sell on their premises the product of any other Pennsylvania alcohol producer. So good. I mean, you're actually seeing brew pubs with a lot of Pennsylvania whiskeys because they can get them.
Well, can a show, if you did a whiskey show in Pennsylvania,
that's not so
organizers? Easy. No.
Yeah, generally the whiskey shows in Pennsylvania tend to be organized by the Liquor Control Board.
Oh, okay. Well, then they could sell though.
And they often have like a little pop-up store.
Yeah.
But they're not really usually selling the small distillers because they're not selling through the system.
See, if I were doing another whiskey show, that's what I'd push for somehow through
the state. Yeah.
It's tough because distributors in most states have such a stranglehold on it that they don't really want that happening, but it's kind of goofy. It's a one-off deal, dude. And, you know, it's so great that people can taste it right there and go, oh, where can I get it? And, you know, and we have a table over here. You can buy it.
What the distributors will tell you is, well, see, if we let that happen, they just have one of these shows every weekend, and all it would really be would be a whiskey store. I've heard this argument.
Well, you limit it.
Yeah.
Right. You know? I mean, and I, as someone who used to produce a spirit show, it's not that easy. And it's not cheap to put on a show. So, you know, you're not making money hand over fist. And
but see, you'd use a different business model because they know all this because they'd be using the same model. And I don't know.
I think you'd have to have a lot of money. In fact, the only way I would have thought you could do is bring in a retailer, a local retailer who could then set up shop and do it.
Right.
And the retailer, the distributors are selling to them anyways.
Well, I was told by some of the people who used to come to Whiskey Fest that a lot of the European shows, like the people just bring their whiskey and just sell it right there at the table. Is that
at the table?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah, because I remember Peter Moran telling me about that. Just like throwing cases in the back of his car, getting on the ferry, going to a show in England, and selling.
Whiskey Live in Dublin is put on by Ali from the Celtic Whiskey Shop.
Oh,
so he might be able to do that. Paris Whiskey Live is an enormous show. I don't go to it. The guys in Scotland go.
Yeah.
You were there, Liz?
Yeah, I taught a master class.
Oh my God! I heard it was like, you know, I know we sell 15,000 glasses to them.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've seen pictures of the hall, and the hall is just. I wouldn't want to be there in a way though, because it's so crowded. They look.
I've been to beer festivals that big. It's not.
Yeah.
It was pretty. It was pretty packed.
So how many people were in your class?
6,000.
No,
right. Lecture hall.
30, and it was.
Oh, okay, all right. So limit the.
Oh.
Yeah, a little bit of a exclusive, right?
Good barrier to entry. You need that.
Well, and also too, I mean, that's been a complaint that you keep on hearing about whiskey shows. You know, not only is the base cost of the table something, but then if you're asked to, who's that? Someone? Am I being called by an agent already?
No, probably a lawyer.
Oh,
Yeah, because
Well-
they're pissed off at what we're saying.
But I mean, the cost of product, and Liz, you could talk to this. You guys, Whistle Pig was at Whiskey Fest. I mean, you had, I don't know how many staff you had there, but you had to pay for a table, you had product. I don't know if you did a class. Did you do a class?
Yeah, that's right. That ain't just the table.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
and if you're bringing everybody into New York for the night, you don't want
Yep.
them going all the way back up to Vermont that night. So that's hotels.
Yeah,
It's
we're
costly, man.
very, very fortunate that we have a rock solid New York City team. So
Ah,
yeah,
that's a good thing.
which is good. Yep. And again, we were in Paris, and then we were in London.
You have a rock solid
and
Parisian team.
We've got rock solid folks now in many cities. So
Ho ho ho! This is very good. This is whiskey. The American lady over there. She made
From
it.
the pig whistle. It's very nice.
but I mean, just circling back, right? In terms
Sorry, French
of,
people.
Whiskey shows and intimacy level, like who's going, who are what are the stands, who are the whiskeys going to be there, where is it located, is it ultra local, are we global? And I from a consumer perspective, I think we're moving to more education. Like I see that picking up quite a bit. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Like,
Well, I know that's why a lot of big
Consumer and
brands have pulled out of shows to take that money that they invested in shows where they felt they were kind of preaching to the same people all the time. And, the VIP hour at any show, not just Whiskey Fest, but any show, it's too many people just sticking their hand out asking for the
oldest,
most expensive, or the oldest. Is Lew rediscovering?
He lost
his
Lew.
tech
He's like,
again?
I figured out this full screen thing, and then now I'm out. Like, he's like, all this time your faces were small. Now I'm like too close into your face. And
Okay.
I was worried your covered bridge collapsed there, Lew.
No, just had a small dog accident. But
that happens.
And he had a dog
he is a
accident.
small dog, so
Big accident.
he's fine. He's fine. He's fine.
But I know that a number of brands, I can't say which, have pulled out of live shows. One, because they would just want to redirect that money mostly towards education, towards the trade. For when you do some whiskey shows for, you can
Bartenders,
actually probably
retailers,
do 2 or 3. Bartenders especially. You
Yeah.
do these smaller events in 3 markets for the amount of money you do one whiskey show. I know that DIAGEO seemed to really pick up their game at Whiskey Fest, anyways, where they went from very small, like Crown Royal, maybe a Johnny Walker table, now back to like 5-6 tables. With there's
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of
Even for the famous mom and pop shop.
Yeah. So
to turn things in a different direction, but still talking about shows, there are a lot more whiskey shows on the internet now than there were 3 years ago. A lot more, because we couldn't do anything. We couldn't go out. So people did what we did and turned on the camera and like, this is a whiskey. I really like it. Yummy, yummy. Or, but actually more often it was, this is shit. These whiskeys, you pay too much money for them. That kind of crap, which, that sells. But seriously, online whiskey enthusiasm has just gone through the roof. And it's definitely having an effect on the market. People people definitely know more about brands. Not necessarily sure they know more about whiskey, but
it's more access, right? Like,
yeah.
Well, but that's I mean, for us, we benefited a lot from brands, especially during all the lockdowns and stuff. They want to get their word out. They wanted advertising, and how can you not? Can't advertise if people aren't allowed in stores, they're not allowed in bars, and the usual stuff. So even the smallest little online whiskey group was able to get big names
Yeah.
were popping in there, and
Yeah,
PR
look at us.
companies were seeking them out. Yeah, right. But at the same time, I think a lot of them have realized if you go on YouTube, YouTube, you can make money. You
Yeah.
build an audience and you can make money. And there's a lot of folks now who have become whiskey celebrities, basically based on doing a YouTube show, talking about their collection, talking about, bringing on celebs, either whiskey celebs, or in the case of Mr. Fred Minnick,
Just celebs,
sports
yeah.
celebs, or TV folks, movie folks. But there's money to be made in all that. Yeah, Lizard.
I was just gonna say, speaking of celebs.
Yeah.
So today's an awesome day. We just launched a new whiskey in collaboration with Brothers Osborne, a special piggyback rise. So go check
Like
that
Ozzy
out.
Osbourne?
Brothers Osborne.
Who's Brothers Osborne?
Country music duo. And then I also wanted to say, speaking of celebs, it is my mother's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Now, is everybody a celebrity now? Even if they're
Mom's
That's the internet, baby.
all right.
Club status.
So no longer is it your 15 minutes, it's your 15 seconds. You're a celebrity.
Well, yeah. Cool. So I wanted to go through some of these comments because we've got a lot going through, and then we can pivot maybe to maybe American Single Malt, or
Yeah.
okay.
Now, or you want to go somewhere else first, or?
I'm
wanna go
going
through
to
the
start
comments
reading
now?
off some of these comments because they've
There's
been
some big
cool.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that Lew Bryson guy.
What?
Hey, Christina.
No.
OMG.
Christina, thanks for joining us. I know you've been on our journey together over
Wow.
the last 100. She says, "What a pity, but I thought something like this would happen. I always enjoyed listening to you and
She's
your
talking
dad.
about you coming back.
Yeah, best regards from Berlin, and maybe we'll meet someone in the world in real life. I will miss you. Thank you."
Christina, I'll meet in. I've been meaning to go back to Hungary. They have a really good whiskey show. I like their show. So if you want to go to Budapest Whiskey Show, Christina, I'll meet you there.
I see one of my colleagues, Colleen. Hey, let's go, Liz. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Did you see Brad's big one here?
Our boy Brad, of course. I'm sorry to see y'all go, and thank you for educating me. And this is why the glasses are back on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
entertaining me, especially during the pandemic. Yeah. Sitting in front of the still, now doing a spirit run and tasting the 4-year-old malt whiskey will release soon. Take care and live your best lives. Abrazos fuertes. I think I pronounced that correctly.
I wish I knew what it meant. I don't. I'm so
It
ignorant.
means he who wears leather pants.
Okay.
He who wears leather pants. I love that. Yes, great interpretation. We've got Donald. Hey.
I don't think you have to read Donald's comment. He's right next
Live
to you.
at a distance, that's good.
Live audience. Oh, right, Brad. By the way, greetings from Panama as always.
Panama.
Steve,
Panama.
cheers from Arizona. Hey, Steve.
I like Monique's Houston's comment. Sorry, I'm late. I'll miss you, wackadoodles.
Yeah, I mean.
Likewise.
Yeah. Lee, hey Lee. Bummer that this is the last show. This was a lot of fun. Cheers. Right back at you. Thank you.
There Owens,
hello as always to my man Frank Patino. Hey Frank, glad you get to be here.
Crazy Frank.
That's right. Lyle.
Yeah.
Boom.
Eric, I don't know if 2.5 years is the end of an era. Doesn't an era have to be a little longer than?
I don't know, man. It kind of feels like it was.
Feel a little like an era.
Feels a lot longer.
Feels like the 1920s. Oh my God.
Well, it does feel like an era. So I remember we're just going because we're doing this.
Yep.
Our very first, I think, when we were prepping for the show, I was in a U-Haul.
Oh God! Ah!
I took that call in a U-Haul, driving cross country, moving my life from Chicago to New York City.
Liz wants to be treated just like her furniture. She's very equal opportunity that way. Her furniture goes in the U-Haul, so does she. I like that about her.
Well, I was not like in the back. I wasn't in like the.
This was like a planes, trains, and automobiles moment.
I thought you'd be wrapped up in those blankets.
Bubble wrap?
Really tied to
Can you imagine?
side of
I'm just being wrapped up in bubble wrap. Okay, we're getting way off topic per usual.
Well, don't get me into talking about being wrapped up in bubble wrap because we can go down a whole different.
We're talking about American single malt. Is this the time to pivot?
Yeah, American
Yeah,
single
well,
malt.
there's more comments, but we'll leave that for the wrap up. Okay, so
Wrap up? I thought we were leaving that.
go
So
guys.
I brought up something during the green room where one of the things I wanted to just mention and maybe talk about was I remember like in about 2015, 2016 talking to some other writers, and one of them, who will remain unnamed, said, wow, I can't wait until an American distiller makes a rye whiskey that I actually like drinking, an American craft distiller. And
What was this?
2015, 2016.
Really? Wow.
There was, okay. And, you know, over the next 2 years, 3 years, that came to pass. And now American craft distillers are making some great rye whiskeys. American single malt was something I really wanted to like and just didn't. And I got to say, in the last year, I think things have just gotten a hell of a lot better. And I don't know if that is because things are just getting older, or if people know what the hell they're doing, or maybe my standards have dropped. I don't know.
Don't you think that's part of the learning curve?
I do, and that's what I'm saying. I think we're hitting that part.
Well, I was talking with someone the other day. I think it was Ross McBarker. He runs the Binnies, the Ivanhoe Binnies here in Chicago. And we were chatting the other day, and we were talking about whiskeys we weren't that crazy about 10 years ago. And all of a sudden, you know, these guys learned, you know, that I think it was very important for any distiller to keep their minds open that, yeah, that's your baby. But, you know, if someone says your baby's kind of ugly, you should realize maybe your buddy
might want to listen.
Just a little ugly. You might grow out of it, but you've got to make some changes there. And, you know, there's loads of whiskeys. I've told Colin Keegan his Cole Keegan whiskey. Initially, I wasn't that crazy about it.
No.
But now it is one of my favorites.
I'm really glad I went back and tried that again.
Yeah, and he listened and he did make some changes to it.
Yeah,
and now it's one of the whiskeys I always recommend.
Yeah, I think we all probably learned a lot over the past. I mean, 5 years or what have you, and I think it's beautiful, and also I think it's right. Just kind of hitting what you said on the head there. It's about collaboration too. I think just learning from one another and having those conversations, I think, has been really beautiful. And you know, it's together, right? We'll rise as an industry. And also noting that we're not the Scotch whiskey industry. This is American single malt. This is a different animal. And I think that's been just so this is me opining. That's just been my take on it, and I think that's great when we can all you know, have those conversations and grow as an industry. And I don't know.
Is there a party over there at Whistle Pig right now?
We're always,
actually, that's my background.
Oh, that's your background?
We're always
people on the bridge?
We have two friends visiting, people my wife used to work with.
Tell them to get off the
They came up
bridge.
to see.
Bridge, there's an echo. There's a woody echo. Well, yeah. Here, guys, let me throw this out at you as far as the single malt. And Lew, I think you and I have discussed this before. With the single malt as a category, I'm that crazy about category. I kind of like the idea, and talking to folks overseas, they like the fact that American distillers have so much freedom. They don't put any parameters. Now we're deciding, well, let's put a parameter so we can have this category. You can make a single malt and just call it a single malt, and if it's made in America, it's an American single malt. But if you want to do something different to it, if you want to, I mean, the guys in Scotland have been bemoaning the fact that they kind of painted themselves into a corner as far as innovation.
Yeah.
And then you got a lot of old timers who don't like, even if it's not in the rules, they don't like the whole idea of messing with tradition. And so, why do that? I think it's the American distilling community is really on the big level, not just Kentucky bourbon guys, but the whole big level. It's only really been around about 20, 25 years. So
so the big guys, yeah.
So why not just see where it goes, man? Let it flow.
A little bit worried about the possibility that some people are doing it, deliberately to keep things the way it worked for them. I don't.
Yeah. Kind of like in Ireland with the
conspiracy theory, but yeah.
Where for those of you who haven't heard read Peter Mulryan's blogs. They're fascinating from Blackwater, because he talks about how the big influence over in the Irish Whiskey Association is IDL, and IDL is Pernod Ricard, and so their idea of what a single pot still whiskey is oddly enough the whiskey they make. So, but doesn't really jive with historic archives of what single pot still Irish whiskey was. And so, yeah, I mean, there is that, and that's another thing. Yeah. Now you have other people kind of controlling what you're making or supposed to make and call it something.
I mean, I remember Don Livermore when he was on the show talking about how he liked Canadian whiskey regulations because they gave him a hell of a lot of freedom. They don't tell him how to distill. They don't tell him how to ferment. They don't tell him. All they tell him is it's got to be 3 years old. It's got to be made of grain, and it doesn't even have to be made completely from grain. It's pretty crazy.
Somewhat reminiscent of Canadian whiskey.
Yeah, well,
yes.
Let's see,
the traditional idea of yes.
On the flip side of that, though, there are things with Canadian whiskey that you kind of stand back and go, huh? Because there you go to a whiskey event up there and you're tasting something, and you see it's called rye whiskey. And you go,
right.
So what percentage rye? Oh, that's about 5% rye. You go, what?
Or less.
Yeah. Rye whiskey. I don't understand. I'm getting confused here.
Well, you know what Davin always says. Don't put your American rye constraints on me.
I understand, but at the same time, also, if I were to, call myself a dancer because I could move, a couple of steps like this.
You used to dance in your youth. I think would be more like it.
Gene
that would
Kelly
be
and I
a better metaphor.
You should see my Singing in the Rain. Liz, that's a musical number from the 1950s.
Oh, well, if it's musicals, I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Sorry.
So, anywho, I think in summation, innovation is awesome, and I think there's certainly friends with a lot of American single malt distillers. Love what they're doing. Great job. Big love. Hugs and kisses.
That stuff, Murphy, was the quintessential that we were just talking to him about last week. Yeah. Wow. That was good. I just happened to have it here.
Just casually,
Yeah, well, you know.
Lou was sitting in a big circle of whiskey bottles. He's just
No, I actually had to put them all away. I was given the word, because the friends were coming to visit.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's not like a lazy Susan that you're just.
No, it's just a revolving room.
See, and now there's something else too that I've seen, and I didn't see a lot of it back in the day. Anybody who's been on Facebook or in these whiskey groups, and everybody was always looking how to sell their whiskey legally. The other thing I discovered this year was whiskey auctions, and oh my God, did it pay off? There's a fellow out of New York that I know who works for an auction house, and I sent him about 48 bottles, and he sold half so far. They do in increments, but nice. I highly recommend it to you folks who feel like they might have too much.
I think that's another thing that has happened in the
last couple of years.
In the interim. Yeah, I mean, a lot of interest in resale, but along with that, a lot of higher prices.
Yeah. Well, it's also weird. Have you guys been down to Justin's?
Yes.
House of Bourbon?
House of, yeah.
And that was an eye opener when I found out you could go in there and bring all your high-priced bourbon,
buy and sell. Yeah.
Yeah, you can sell it to them. Now, I don't know what kind of money you would get. If you get more money, probably from an auction, possibly, because they're going to turn around and
sure, they want to leave room for that.
But I found that really interesting. I mean, I'd love to be able to just go over to Binny's and to say, "Hey, you guys want any of this stuff? I got loads of it. I got so much booze in my house that here.
It's a fire hazard."
What is it, like the Plato's closet of?
Nice. All those bottles? Yeah, I'll give you $5 for those. That'll be great. Here, have some store credit.
Yeah.
Store credit. Some whiskey credit. Yeah. All right, guys.
Let's do some predictions and close this up.
Let's
get your sunglasses back on, Liz. It's going to get ugly.
Okay, so let's take predictions. What are you most excited? What are you about coming up? Sorry, I'm judging. Most excited about in the industry, and what or what would you like to happen?
I really like what's going on with Irish whiskey. I want to see more crazily mixed mash bills. I think Irish whiskey to me is the most exciting place right now, and I say that with full knowledge that I'm in America, where anybody feels like they can do anything. I just think Irish is doing some really, really cool stuff right now. Yeah,
I was over there in September, and in 6 days I hit 18 distilleries, and it was fascinating. First, again, how much money everyone's putting into these.
Oh yeah.
Well, luckily I had young Darren McGinn, my UK counterpart, do all the driving. I did all the drinking. He had a little hand cart. He just wheeled me in, wheeled me out. But we go. I mean, I agree, Lou. I was really, really surprised how much really cool stuff was being made.
Yeah.
The quality of it. They weren't screwing around. They really weren't. There wasn't a lot of half-assery going on. And even though a lot of them are still sourcing their initial whiskey from John Teeling, he is the MGP of Ireland. But at the same time, the stuff they were producing was amazing. Also, shout out to Louise McGuane. I like what she does as far as the whole bonded, even though they didn't really have bonded whiskey in Ireland historically, but she's taken the kind of the American blueprint for that, and she's going around to all these new distilleries and filling up these barrels and laying them down. And
Yeah.
that's kind of fun. That's going to be really interesting as
Yeah,
time.
because a lot of them don't have the luxury of doing that.
No, it'll be really
Yeah.
interesting to see how that works out. Plus, she tries to source as much old stuff as she can too.
And again, the whole Waterford experiment.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah.
plus, Bushmills. I was at Bushmills.
Oh, yeah.
Second distillery behind the major distillery. We
Yeah.
got a little secret tour that I can't talk about. I
That's
wasn't
a
even
good
there. I can't even say I was there. But really fascinating, and it is. It's really interesting what's going on over there right now.
Yeah. I just almost feel like the Scots need to look to their laurels.
Well, the same thing though. It's interesting. So I've been over to Scotland twice this year, visited some distilleries, and again, the amount of money going into these distilleries. Arbiki has this beautiful brand new distillery that they built and they're smart in that they built event space. They already have weddings booked, which I'm a big proponent of. For any new distillery, you need that stuff. You need another source of income while your whiskey's laying down. But Arbiki also, they're doing beautiful landscape, and they're building a heliport.
Oh my God!
Man.
So people can fly in from St. Andrews and land at the distillery. I mean that's really kind of targeting your audience, isn't it? Someone can afford a helicopter. Bye, little Monique.
Oh.
Monique has left us.
Monique, yeah, thanks for joining us. So we will be right back. So apparently,
well, do you want to talk, Liz, about some of the people, or did you have anything else?
I was just going to. I was just going to comment and say what I'm excited about. I think moving forward in the industry. So not as a consumer, but obviously as someone who makes it. I think from a consumer perspective, sustainability I think is going to be a key driver to where we're going next. And I think that's super important. I mean, we mentioned the Waterford, like farm distillery. We've obviously I'm here at the farm, but we've spoken to so many, right? Arbiki, far north, and I think that's important to get back to again the taste of place, being stewards of the land, and I think thinking mindfully. And sustainability is a key piece to that because that's love, right?
That's love. Well, the other fascinating thing is wait a minute. I totally forgot what the other fascinating thing was. God damn it.
Great story.
No, there was something you were saying. It clicked in my head, and then I swear to God, it dropped like a chute opened up in my head. It just dropped out.
Welcome to age, Marty.
I know.
Yeah. Liz doesn't understand this.
No, not yet. She
will.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
Oh, really?
I'm gaining years here.
You're gaining years.
We got your rocking chair waiting for you.
How about this, guys? What would you? I don't know. There's been so many. I mean, obviously, 100 people we've been interviewed on the show over the last 2.5 years. What were some of the most surprising ones? Say your favorite. Anything really jump out? You go, oh my God, that's weird. That's crazy. Either in presentation or in.
Spirit of Ven.
Yeah, I know.
When he walked out of the building, that was the best. I love that.
And down into his distillery. It's underground.
Yeah.
Plus, he was I saw him at ADI. Oh, by the way, I was going to give a shout out to ADI and ACSA when we were talking about all the brands being, young brands, young distillers, and distilleries getting to exchange info. Those things are really valuable, I think.
They are. They work.
They're wonderful shopping centers for all the stuff you need for your distillery, but it's also meeting a lot of times proven veterans who are always free. I mean, that's one of the things I love about this industry. Is I never met anyone say, I'm not going to tell him my secrets.
Brewing too.
We're just like, oh, you have a question? Like, oh, let's have a conversation.
I mean, Liz, you used to. I mean, that was the first time I used to see you, is showing up at those shows, always doing your thing. And you were coming from DIAGEO. That was when you worked at DIAGEO, and you were still showing up at these shows, doing seminars and giving people the what for of what they, how you should go about doing stuff. I mean, that's kind of stuff I can imagine prior to those shows being around. That had been really tough. I mean, really, who do you ask? But when you were first starting out, when it was the first 200 distillers across the country.
Yeah. They had to talk to Bill Owens.
Yeah. Or some guys went over had to go over to Europe.
Oh, yeah.
And learn from the Scots. Yeah. For the most part, the Scots, because the Irish distilling industry has really only come on in the last decade.
By the way, I think Eric's on. So, hey, Eric, end of an era. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Yeah. Hey, partners.
Yeah.
Let's go through the last of the comments and in this party.
Yeah. Well, and also I want to find out what everyone has, what you guys have planned for the future. But let's go through the comments first.
All right, where did we leave off here? All right, yeah, Eric, in a mirror. Okay, we've got some Hayes from Chicago, of course. Scott says that's a fine balance, though, geek versus cash flow. Okay, yeah, respect. Of course, calling fecal matters. Yep. We did that. That's cotton camera.
That's gonna be my next talk show, by the way. Fecal matters, where we just talk shit. That's what I'm
featuring Marty Duffy.
Wow.
Cool. Brad says, beer is my life, rum is my death, and whiskey is my heaven. Wow.
I like that. That's going on my tombstone.
Yeah.
There's some Monique, welcome to the full screen, old dog. Yeah.
Never too late. Close.
Let's see. Oh, Eric also said Virginia Bourbon Invitational has 20 plus craft distillers. So that's just on a comment about local regional. Yep. Frank. Yeah. Hey. And let's see what else. Scott says the growth of internet shows like this one, parentheses, has been great. Aww. Been disabled for a long time, so I get my information from the internet now that it's been so much more accessible to both brands and PR. Wow. Okay. Scott, thanks for joining in. Let's see what else. Everybody is a celebrity of their own life. Hashtag yes.
Yeah, but I don't get any presents from me.
Okay, so Doug,
I get presents for myself all the time.
Right?
This morning, box of Kleenex. Awesome.
Wow.
Thanks, me.
Nice. I'm gonna send you some dude wipes.
There was a great question from Douglas. Which whiskey were you recommending? And so that would be Santa Fe Spirit. So Colquican single malt whiskey.
Yeah.
So go check them out. Big love there. Big love.
Yeah, Colin does a great job, man.
Yes, he does.
Brad, love to you all. Hope
had to go.
Yeah, and a lot of we'll miss you guys. So,
well, here. So, Liz, what's next for you?
like in the next, like my next
Oh,
meeting.
there. Are you know, you're also doing consulting, and you also have a group of people off to the side that, I mean, so you can talk immediately what's next for you. Is it lunch? Or
Yeah, they all eaten, and I have been staring at lunch this whole
that's
time.
so rude. Donald, you bastard.
Yeah, we actually we threw down last night and did some the team. We had a little family meal, so there's leftovers, and I've been smelling it and seeing it while everyone's been chowing down. So
it was not pork. Was that one of those little pigs you have there in the farm?
No, but we have veggie leftovers that we're gonna go feed the pigs. Probably that's gonna be another afternoon activity.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, guys, should we do this one last time?
Oh, wait a minute. I want to hear what's
empty.
What's next? Lou.
What's next?
Oh, for me, I just started a podcast literally this week.
Oh, you did?
Actually, yesterday the first episode went up. Yeah, it's called "Seeing Through a Glass." It's audio only and it's all about drinking and eating here where I live in central Pennsylvania. So,
that's kind of cool. Where can people find that?
It's on Podbean now. It's working its way through Google Podcasts and Apple.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, because it takes a while to repopulate the whatevers. I don't know.
And if anybody wants to punch me in the face, they can find me in St. Louis in about a week. I'm saying attempt to punch me in the face because this is unpunchable. I'll be at the Whiskey in the Winter.
Nice.
I'm actually doing a seminar on tasting whiskey where I'll probably have a copy of that book. Dang
it! I don't have mine.
I'll be at the Victoria Whiskey Festival in Victoria,
nice.
British Columbia. Very nice.
Very nice.
And then ACSA, and then Bourbon, in Portland in February.
That's right.
New Orleans Bourbon Festival. There's a lot of great whiskey festivals coming up.
A lot of great shows and cocktail weeks coming up for me. So
Distill America in May. Oh, you know what's also in March that you guys should go to, and Lou, good book signing opportunity, is the Galena Whiskey Weekend.
Oh!
Loads of fun.
Okay.
Loads of fun.
Yeah, I think actually we already talked about that, me and the Blums.
Me and the Blums. That's going to be my new song coming out this January. Me and the Blums.
I don't know why, but Benny and the Jets just came through my head.
Me and the Blums.
Yeah.
Crazy Matt. Crazy Mike.
All righty. I've got my glasses charged.
All right, guys.
The parting glass, as they would call it in Ireland. There you go. Let's see. There is
Wind be ever at your back or that stuff.
may when you're sliding down the banister of life, may the splinters always face the other way.
Okay, great. I've got another one.
Yeah.
Cheers to curiosity, love, laughter, and whiskey. Thanks, guys.
Booker's toast. May there be no hell. And if there is, I'll see you there. Cheers,
right,
guys. It's been great.
Happy holidays.
Love you both. Love you guys. Everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in.
May there be turkeys on everyone's tables.
Unless you don't like turkey.
And within their family. Well, if you have family members, just say a turkey. Believe me.
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
Whiskey. Bye, kids.
Bye-bye, guys.